Dun 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 dun. I am man. I used to like some of the white boy joints, rock joints. All right, man, I'm going to get in trouble today. And I'm not trying to be a troublemaker. I just know that people get offended easily. I'm going to get in trouble today. And I'm not trying to get in trouble. But we're the United Sissies of America. So I'm going to get in trouble today. But I'm not trying to, I promise. All right, first things first. Welcome to CNN. I'm KurtKennedy.com. Let's go in. On this channel, we take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them, right? So we expose whatever we see because darkness is everywhere. We ain't on no team. We on team light, all right? We're on team light. All right, if you are of the Christian tradition such as I am, if you are a Christian, a fear of the Lordian, a believer, a follower of the way, you genuinely love the Lord, all that good stuff, right? Then you know that tomorrow's not promised. You could die today, but the day of the Lord is promised. So we are to remember the future right there, right there, right there. All right? All right, let's have this conversation. I'm going to get in trouble, and it is what it is. We're about seeking the truth, and even if it's my opinion, it's still truth to me. All right? So let's have this conversation. Women's college basketball is on the rise. I kid you not. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. All right? I'm going to be honest with you. I watched both games last night. I've never watched a women's college basketball game cover to cover in my life until last year. I heard about this girl named Caitlin Clark, and they said she was the female Steph Curry. And I was like, hold on. Now, I'm one of those people. I think the Michael Jordan, LeBron debate, I think is cool. I'm Team Jordan. I grew up watching Jordan, but LeBron's a phenom, right? So I'm not mad if you think LeBron is the best. But I also think that I look at who's the best in terms of who changed the game. Like Michael Jordan, he changed the game in a crazy way. Like, I mean, people wanted to be 6'6" just because this dude made you want to be a certain height, right? He changed the game. I believe that Steph Curry has changed the game way more than LeBron. So LeBron was a phenom to watch. 6'7", strong, grew up. But people aren't trying to imitate LeBron as much. Steph Curry made people start shooting threes like never before. I mean, this dude has changed the game. And so to me, I look at him as a greater basketball player than LeBron. He's not in the debate with Jordan, but that's how I think, all right? So when I heard that Caitlin Clark was the female Steph Curry, then she was white, to be honest, this was it. I said, I got to check this girl out. So I watched her play. She was just pulling up from everywhere. I mean, and what I like too, and you got to understand, if you watch this channel, then you know about me. You can even tell from the little beat. I'm an ex-gangster, right? So I'm good with I appreciate proper aggression. Man, she was in the game last year doing the John Cena, you can't see me. I watched her tell one girl, she was like, shut up, you're down 15 points. Like, she's not just like, oh, I play basketball. She's like, ah. I like that. I think that's cool. I think that can happen, right? So I liked her. I watched her lose to LSU in the championship game. Y'all know the thing when Angel Reese was pointing at the ring, all that, mocking her for them beating South Carolina, who thought they were going to win because they were undefeated. Right? So I couldn't wait till this season. Now, I didn't watch any of women's college basketball during the regular season, but when the tournament hit, I only wanted to see one person play, Caitlin Clark. Now, there's other good players, though. Juju from USC. Whoo! That girl, I watched her play last night. She came down, was like, bop, 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 and pulled up a jumper. I'm talking about Women's college back. Then you got Angel Reese watched her play Caitlin Clark last night, and they lost. Caitlin Clark and them got. I'm just, you got Paige Beckers from Connecticut is back off the injury. Women's college basketball is on the rise. It's incredible. And so last night I watched the Final Four. Me and two of my homies, we watched the Final Four. The two games to get to the Final Four. And Friday night, I'm gonna be right there watching UConn play Paige Beckers go against Caitlin Clark. I'm not even this excited for the men. So it made me think about, why am I so excited? Now, couple this with, over the years, women in the WNBA has been pushing back, saying that they deserve better pay, similar pay to the guys and all that. Guys getting $100, $200 million contracts. And people have laughed at the WNBA and said, you all are tripping. And a lot of them have really, they've been calling them woke and all that, the diversity, equity, and inclusion crowd, all that stuff, right? I think that people who are just on the conservative side call everything they disagree with woke, and people on the liberal side call everything they disagree with racist or white supremacist or something. It's just stupid. Those terms mean nothing anymore. But I did agree that women's professional sports, basketball, I thought, what are you talking about? This is not, they're not just getting more money just because there's a lack of equity. These men are drawing the crowd, they're creating the revenue, and the WNBA just has not created that revenue. So they look kind of dumb complaining about wanting money, as if the NBA is not already subsidizing your league. Your league exists because the NBA. So I always thought that these women were tripping. And then recently, I saw a conversation where they were saying that Caitlin Clark alone, that she has the ability to change everything in the WNBA and professional sports, the TV contracts and stuff, all of it, right? So now that I say women's basketball, college basketball is on the rise. I'm excited about some of these plays. These girls can hoop, Slim. They can hoop. But really, the reality is, it's really right now the allure of Caitlin Clark. I don't think, I'll give Kim Mulkey. Kim Mulkey is the coach for the LSU female basketball team, LSU Tigers basketball team. She told Caitlin Clark, I'm glad you're leaving. I'm glad you're graduating. She said, you are something else. I've never seen anything like it. Listen, if you have not, I don't even care if you like basketball. If you have not seen Caitlin Clark play, you are missing out. This girl is ridiculous. And I would say the way she is the female Steph, but I think the way she pulls her threes is even more shocking than Steph Curry, because you can see his setup. She'll just come down, she'll be leaning sideways like she's falling and still shoot it. And I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 feet behind her. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube, not right now, watch the video. Go on YouTube and look up LSU Iowa highlights and watch where this girl was pulling threes from. She's phenomenal. Caitlin Clark is bonkers. And then you realize women's college basketball is on the rise. And it's incredible. And good for them. Right? Good for them. But there's a reality about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA that it doesn't make sense until you wonder this. Why is there an absence of this excitement of women in the WNBA? Matter of fact, Angel Reese last year was on top of the world. She won the national championship. She was the MVP of the tournament, but she decided to stay her senior year and not go to the WNBA. In the men's joint, dudes be playing 1 year in college and be out. They want the money. They want to get in the NBA, but these women are electing to stay. I just found out that Paige Beckers, she had been injured for 2 years. She's UConn's beast. She's UConn's Caitlin Clark. That she's coming back to UConn next year because she got 2 more years of eligibility because she had been injured and didn't play. But these women are not rushing to go to the WNBA. And a lot of them now with the NIL contracts where you can be in college and get millions of dollars sponsors. You might see Caitlin Clark on like State Farm commercials. I'm seeing these athletes on just all types of commercials, and they're actually allowed to make money now. I think that's good for them. Good for them. But there is an absence of this excitement in the WNBA. I don't think I've ever watched one WNBA game in my life. That's not true. The Mystics won, my city. Washington Mystics won in 2019, and I think I watched one of those games. Right? But the reality is there is an absence of this excitement in the WNBA that these women have in college, and more so Caitlin Clark. Now, you could say, is it because she just broke the scoring record, the all-time scoring record? She is ridiculous. She's hit more threes than most of us have ever thought about in our lives. She's she's got a ball handle. She can pass the ball. I mean, she really is stunning to watch. Like, I enjoyed myself. I mean, there were times, me and my dudes, right? We were watching the game and she would do a move. We'd be like, ah! Like, we'd be screaming like we're watching dudes just dunk on each other. These women can't dunk. But I'm just watching her is crazy. And I thought, man, I have no desire to watch a WNBA game. And these women are supposed to be the best in the world, right? So I really thought, what's the reality here? Is it just, oh, they don't have enough sponsorship, they're not making enough money? That's not the reality. That's not the reality here. Why college basketball is on the rise and why there's an absence of this excitement in the WNBA. And this is where I'm going to get in trouble. This is where people are not going to like what I'm about to say. But I'm story of my life. I'm not saying it to be a jerk. We're about truth on this channel. And so I want to talk about truth. There's a sobering truth. There's a reason why Caitlin Clark in college, Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, Paige Beckers, Juju, I forgot her last name. I want to say Watkins, I think. I don't remember his last name. But there's other girls that are just like balling in college. And there's a sobering truth about why the WNBA, the real reason why the WNBA has never been able to take off. It's not just because they're women, no, because there's a lot of women's sports that people are fine with. The real sobering truth about professional women's basketball and the reason why they don't have a large fan base and why they don't generate enough income is simply this. And I mean, I'm sure it's more than this, but here's the thing that nobody wants to say. So, and I think Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and these other girls that are coming out, the reason why I think there's an excitement, not just because they're good basketball players, because there's a lot of good basketball players already in the WNBA. The real sobering truth is that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, as far as I know, Paige Beckers, and some of these other girls, they date men. They date men. Caitlin Clark has a boyfriend. Angel Reese likes men. And this is the sobering truth. The majority of people don't want to watch a league full of women athletes who date each other, and you just don't want to see it. And nobody wants to say this. Nobody wants to say this. People may get offended now watching it. The real truth why the WNBA has not taken off is because it's a league full of lesbians and no one wants to watch it. You're not drawn to that. Some of them are not good. There are people on that team that miss wide open layups, but okay. But the real reason is they're lesbians and no one wants to watch a league full of it. Despite how much the sexual acronym community has progressed in the country, don't get it twisted. Like, everyone isn't in such full support that gymnasiums are packed to watch these women play. You don't. And it's not because they get sweaty and stuff, because dudes like sweaty girls at the gym. What it is they're feminine and you appreciate that. They're women, it's just the way it is. Caitlin Clark, I don't even think she's like amazingly beautiful, but she's feminine though. She's aggressive on the court. Angel Reese has got boyfriends and there's a sense, and this is what's going to change the WNBA. This is what's going to change the WNBA, is that girls who are leaving college that are coming there are not gay. They're not. They're heterosexual, and they're going to date men and get married and have families, and that's going to make people watch. And all on, I promise you this. If people had the courage to say this, that I'm not, my channel isn't big enough that I care if they cancel me. But this is the reality. No one wants to watch a league full of lesbians. Let me prove this to you. Well, this is proof to me. It may not be proof to you. No one, do you notice that women's professional basketball, if there's so many other women's professional sports that nobody has a problem with. No one balks at. I can watch women's tennis all day. They vicious. They get it in. When Serena and I was watching women's tennis all the time. Women's tennis, no problem. I don't watch field hockey, but you don't hear about field hockey doing this. Even women's lacrosse, women's volleyball, some of the most feminine women there. The World Cup women's soccer team, apart from like Megan Rapinoe, most of those girls are they just heterosexual girls. They got boyfriends, they got families. I remember when Mia Hamm was the face of the women's soccer, wholesome woman just with family values, all of it. No one has a problem with women's sports. The world rallied around women. They don't have a problem. Them volleyball tournaments, dudes will watch them because they think the girls are attractive. No one has a problem with that. Why is it that professional women's basketball has the problem? They can't get ratings. They're struggling. That no one's really tripping off of that, no matter what. And the reality is because the majority of that league are lesbians. And most people, guys in particular, don't want to go there and watch a sexual orientation platformed league of women playing basketball. You just don't. You just don't. As far as that community has come, depending on how you look at it, the reality is the majority of people just don't want to watch it. And so what's happening in the college basketball world is that not only are these women good, like they are ballers. I'm talking about, man, this girl Juju Watkins is like 18. I hope that's her last name. She's 18 years old. She's a freshman. Man, she came in last night. She dribbled up, came in with she hit her with the hezzy, and then pulled a three right in Paige Becker, who's like the other, right in her mouth. She came down, crossed over. They can play ball, but you know what? They seem, as far as we can tell, they're just regular women. People want to see just play sports. Why does a sexuality have to dominate this? That's the real reason why people don't support the WNBA. I've had many conversations with different people. And not that it matters. It's all subjective still. Still my subjective thought. And you can disagree with this. That's fine. A story of my life. But the reality is people don't want to watch a bunch of lesbians playing basketball. And a couple of years ago, I don't know. Well, this is true. But I wish I had her name. And I'm tripping right now because I usually do my research better than this. I can't remember her name. But she came out and said that when you're heterosexual in the WNBA, you are mocked heavily. You are treated badly as if you're somehow a traitor to the league. And she was talking about that. There were people who came in that way and then switched. Candace Parker was married to Sheldon. I forgot his name. He looks like a Klingon from Star Trek. Face like that. He used to play for Duke. She's married to him. Now she's married to some girl, whatever, right? Love is love. Do whatever you're going to do. You'll stand before the Lord and give an account. I'm not here to tell. I'll tell you it's wrong based on what the Bible says, but you're going to do what you're going to do. But like this woman, if I Googled her, if you Googled her, she was saying that there is she left. She retired early because she felt like she was getting treated horribly because she was heterosexual. She dated men and that's what she wanted to do. And so there was this big like pushback, like, oh, I can't believe she said that. But a lot of people were like, no, she's right. She's absolutely right. In that particular, and this is the thing I don't know. I remember a friend of mine, a former pastor, we were hanging with his family, me and my family at one point. And his youngest daughter at the time, she was a little masculine, like to the point where you would call her a tomboy. Back in the day, they was called tomboys. Now they're on some sexual spectrum, right? They used to just be tomboys. But I remember her mom telling me, like, we're not going to let her play basketball. We're not. She wants to play, but we don't want her to play basketball. And I understood why. But I didn't give it much thought. But I want to give it just a thought now. And maybe you watching live or later, comment section seems like it's on and popping. We'll get to that. It might be people mad at me. They might unsubscribe. So be it. It is what it is. Life goes on. Jesus is still coming back. I'm still big and sexy, right? So, she said, I don't want her to play basketball. And I wonder this. What is it about basketball? Like, why do women feel like what is it about basketball that draws that sense where you're either more masculine or you just have a sexual preference? Like it's an interesting case study if you stop and look at, out of all the professional women's sports, you could just say, well, if all women were doing this, and it would be like, all right, it sounds like but it's not. You don't hear this epidemic anywhere else. You don't hear about this anywhere else. But in women's professional, what is it about basketball that leads people to think, all right, this is my orientation? I don't have a lot of answers for that because I haven't thought about it a lot. But I actually do plan on thinking through this and trying to just research and find out. There's something about women's basketball, but then even more professional basketball, that promotes this. But what I'm seeing happening, and people won't say this, so remember where you heard it first, when this becomes a real debate, old Kurt told you first. I was the one brave enough to say it. When all these women come into the WNBA and they're straight, they get married, they have and like unless Caitlin Clark is pretending and she's really gay and going to switch up when she gets there, if she's not and she marries her boyfriend and he becomes her husband and they have no one's going to give her any rec for that. And this is why I'm excited for the WNBA, because I think they're good ballers. It is good entertainment, but I'm not watching a league full of women who date other women. I don't care about that. I don't want it to be about that. I'm not going to a game where I got to grab a pride flag and wave it just to be in support of your league. Why do I got to support that? I don't care who you sleep. Can you hoop and let everybody hoop, right? It's like the most sexist league in the world because you don't want women who are not gay to come in there and hoop. But now a lot of these women coming in are not gay, at least from what I can tell, and they can hoop. I guarantee you, Caitlin Clark is going to be the face of the WNBA, and I'm glad because she's just a regular old woman. I can't get this sense from her that she's on a mission. She's trying to build a case against, women being sexual, all that. She just wants to hoop. And I'm excited to see her and other women who will get married to men and have families just hoop. And there won't be no pushback because she is going to be the reason why some of these people, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you, unless she's a flop, if she goes there and it's like, oh my gosh, what's happened to her? She was so good in college. Unless she's a flop, Caitlin Clark I'm going to watch when she goes to Indiana. I kid you not. I'm going to watch her wherever she's playing. If it's on TV and I'm not doing something else, I'm going to watch her play because she's that good. She's must-see TV. I've never felt like, there's been some good women before, don't get me wrong. I've seen some good women ballers, but I've never seen anything like Caitlin Clark. Almost in men's, Steph Curry was 11 when he played at Davidson. And it was like, who is this kid? And we knew he was Dale Curry's son, who used to play for Charlotte. But Dale Curry was like low key. He wasn't like a superstar, but he could shoot. This kid's coming in pulling three. At the time they went to the Final Four, he beat Georgetown, which is my team. Georgetown, Washington, D.C. What you doing, man? He beat them. It was like, who is this kid? I haven't seen anything like this. I'm excited for Caitlin Clark. I'm hoping that she goes to this league, marries her boyfriend, has a family, and hoops. And then these other women come in and they don't feel the pressure to be lesbians. They don't gotta, it's one thing that you gotta conform to the rules of the league. It's another thing to have to conform to the sexual deviancy of the league. And yeah, it's deviancy to me. You can disagree. We're gonna disagree on a lot of things if you don't agree on that. So I'm fine with that. But I hate that these people feel pressure and so they don't get support. They don't get support because men like basketball. Women don't. Women who play it do, but men like watching basketball. That's a myth. We watch it. The reason why a lot of men don't watch it, unless you gay, you're not watching it because you don't care about seeing a bunch of lesbians play basketball. There's already disadvantages. They can't dunk. There's certain things they can't do that guys can do. So you're already not getting the fullness of what you could get by watching guys. So then there's got to be another draw. And let's just keep it 1,000, right? With men, all people struggle with lust, but with men, we got to be drawn to a woman physically to go ahead and to watch that. That's what it is. Most men are not attracted to the women who play in the WNBA because they're lesbians. That's what it is. And so men aren't watching it. And then you got women that aren't really watching it because some people don't want their kids to be like having to feel like some people support it, but not as much as we think, man. We act like everybody's not with. We all accept the reality of the lifestyle, but we all are not like, yes, everyone should be. Nah, just like everyone accepts the reality of Christ and him crucified with its Christians, but not everybody bangs with us. So all that to say, listen, man, I know people are going to get mad and do what you got to do, man. Do what you do. Do what you do. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong because I think a lot of people just don't want to say it. But old Curdy Kurt is going to say it. I'm excited. The allure of Caitlin Clark is not just that she's good, but that she's going to bring in a whole set of just values because she's so good. If she marries a man no one's going to say nothing to her. This other girl said she would be in the locker rooms and they would corner her and say mean stuff about her not trying to get her to be, and she wouldn't do it. So she retired. No one's going to do that to Caitlin Clark because she's going to be the face of the league. You better not do nothing to her. And if she's good in the WNBA, if she's coming in, pulling deep like that and smacking them, their ratings are going to go up. And that's all the stuff these women have been caring about. They're getting ready to get a new contract, a new television contract, because they're anticipating that more people are going to watch. I don't know what the ratings were for last night's games, but I know that they had to be equal to or higher than the guys. I'm going to be honest. This is the first time in my life I've ever said this. The women's Final Four is way more exciting than the guys' Final Four. Like, I'm going to watch both of them. But I used to never watch the women's Final Four. But I can't wait till Friday night because Caitlin Clark and Iowa are going to go against Paige Beckers and UConn. Woo! I'm way more excited to see that game than any other game, men or women. I don't even care about the men. The men's Final Four is weak to me. I'll watch it because I'm a sports guy and I like it. But I tell you what, Caitlin Clark is must-see TV. And when she goes to the league, she's going to change things. And I think these other girls that are following that seem to be like, we like guys, we want to marry guys, attractive girls that play sports, go in and you're going to get more people watching. It's like, okay, I can watch this. If you have daughters, you're like, hey, my daughter loves basketball. She can play this, but I don't have to worry about her being gay just to play, just to be accepted. I'm sorry, not everybody's for it. Not everybody's for it. And we're not going to pretend like it is. This is a free country. It used to be a free country. Now it costs you maybe your social media following, but it is what it is. That's the reality. So women's college basketball is on the rise because they're good, but they're also straight. And that's just what's happening. So we'll see this. We'll see. Watch this. I'm telling you. In 4 years, when women's basketball is actually filling in stadiums and their games are getting a couple million views now, it's going to be because of this. Because women are good, they're playing basketball, and they can have families and all of that and don't have to submit to a sexual ethic and be bullied because of it. And I think Caitlin Clark is going to be one of the first because she's so good, they're going to leave her alone. They're going to leave her alone. She's going to be so electrifying that she's going to do her thing. And if she marries the dude she's with, then other people are going to feel comfortable doing it and they're going to be left alone. And I think the WNBA is going to have a lot more attention. That's what I think. I think people are going to start watching. That's just reality. So you can be mad at me if you want. You're a pastor, I deal with truth. All right. Let's go to the comment section. This joint has been cooking over here. All right, let's go. Let's get this take from you, right? You built for the smoke, right? The only place LeBron is a GOAT is the state of Ohio, respectfully. Right? Her versus Angel Reese. That was a nice rivalry, man. That was a nice rivalry. That was real good. Facts, college basketball has better draw than the WNBA. She'll definitely bring... Yep, I think so, bro. I definitely think so, bro. I totally plan to watch the Caitlin Clark highlights after this, but I think the issue is charisma. Jordan was great, not because he could put the ball in he made it exciting. Maybe. I don't know. Wow, Kurt, never thought about it like that. I'm telling you, it's this is it. If you, I promise you. I mean, it's one of the main reasons. I'm not saying it's the only reason. I promise you, Michelle, this is it. I agree with that point. Thank you, Kev. Great take. Thank you, Rex. Appreciate that, brother. BJ Farrell, I never thought about that, but very good point. Thank you, brother. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, bro. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, boy. Honestly, I had never thought about it and didn't even think about it. I'm telling you, Brandon, watch. This is what's changing. It's changing. Like, it's going to get to that point. Caitlin Clark is changing things because she's so good, but there's too many. I just think it's too many women in that place. It's going to be what? There was a Christian basketball player, woman that called. Yep, well said. Well said. Yeah, Sheldon Williams. A Klingon. Hey, I'm an ugly dude too, but I got game. You know what I'm saying? I'm an ugly dude. But nah, he was an ugly dude. He looked like a Klingon. My dude was like that. It was a thing. Yeah. But he's fearfully and wonderfully made, but not all fearfully and wonderfully made are the same. You know what I'm saying? I'm an ugly dude myself. Candace Wiggins. Yeah, that's right. That was her name, right? Candace Wiggins. Well said. Well said. Are you saying the movie Love and Basketball was a lie? That's a good one. I bang with Faith for 5x5. That's my peoples. I bang with her. Yep, NBA also has a Pride Night. But there's a difference than a Pride Night versus a Pride League. There's a big difference, bro. It's one, they're going to have a Pride Night. They got to, because you got to be all-inclusive now, right? That's the new religion, inclusivity. You got to be all-inclusive, right? But let me take these off, man. Let's get gangster, right? Yes, they have a Pride Night, but the WNBA is a Pride League, bro. It's Pride every day. It's nothing but you got to go in and get you a gay Pride flag. Nah, ain't nobody trying to do that. This is the I disagree with you decade. 100%, bro. 100%. Now that you mention this, I wonder if this could be similar, maybe not to WNBA, and what's happening with women's national soccer team. I don't know. I know Megan Rapinoe is one of the most outspoken leaders. She's married to Sue Bird of the New York Liberty. So she's trying to, I believe Megan Rapinoe is trying to co-opt the the whole thing. But I don't think so. I think most of the women that I'm aware, I could be wrong, I'm not the Lord, right? Most of the women that I'm aware of that play in soccer, they're heterosexual. They just like soccer. And I don't know what it is about basketball. There's not a demand in these other sports. Women, there's professional volleyball leagues. They don't get all the money, but these people have families and they're feminine. It's just all this stuff. They don't have to look like, they don't look like me. You know what I'm saying? Ready to ball up, ready to fight you. If you look at it, it's like they just look like regular. They look like regular women. So I just think it's interesting. What's happening? I have a Lillard jersey and Bill Walton and AI action figures on my wall. Some girl, yes. I ain't saying girls don't watch basketball. I'm sure you just said loving basketball. You didn't just watch basketball. You watched a movie about basketball. So I believe that you watch basketball. You probably got some Jordans too. You probably got the twos and all of that, right? I get that. So that's not the issue. I think girls watch basketball, but what I'm saying is girls who want to play basketball, I know parents, I told you about one, who do not want their daughters to play basketball, even though they like it and are good at it, because it seems like if you go further in this sport, at some point, you're going to have a sexual ethic that disagrees with what some people think is the right way to live. So, all right, word is there. A poll showing that the majority of Americans don't agree with the sexual acronym community. They just tolerate it. There's a lot of polls that go around, but I mean, you can look for it, brother. I mean, we're all adults here. You a big dude. You a grown man. You can look for that joint. But I think most people tell you there's only 2% of people are this or that. It's just we live in a society where now that there's social media, whoever has the biggest mouth or makes the most noise can appear as if they have the dominating perspective, but it really isn't. The majority of people in the world are not in that sexual acronym community. They're just not. And that's a fact. But those numbers, they're everywhere. You can look that up. That's why unbelievers refer to Easter as Zombie Jesus Day. Well, I mean, I hate to say this, and it's going to sound more crass than I mean it to be, but Zombie Jesus Day, laugh now, but you're going to be the zombie in hell later. Like, it's just not, I don't even, that type of stuff, like, I just don't get. I said this on the video before. This is a kind of Pascal's wager, but like, I just don't understand. There are people, right? So think about this. There are people who will count the cost. You like when you go on Amazon, right? And you're looking for something specific. And then you'll see one thing and you'll look at the ratings, how many ratings it has, right? You are more likely to buy something that has 4.8 stars. Like, 22,000 people picked 4.8, right? You're 99% going to buy that item than one that was rated 3.7 stars, right? Why? Because you're counting the cost. You're counting the options matter. You don't want to spend your money on it. What's wild to me is people will count the cost on buying something like, or going to what restaurant they want to eat in, but they don't count the cost about where they'll go after they die. So you will just come up with these stupid, dumb tropes that, like, I just disagree with that. And that's just final for you. But you will search high and wide for the best Airbnb, for the best restaurant in the city, it's just fascinating to me that the thing that people should care the most about is life after death. They care more about how they live how they're living, not their dying. I mean, I don't know anyone who, when newspapers used to be like print media, like when you can, I don't know no one goes to the obituary section unless you know someone that's there and you're reading up. People avoid the obituary section. People act like if you avoid the conversation of the afterlife that it somehow doesn't mean anything. Okay, I avoid talking about gravity. I don't ever have conversations with people about gravity. But God forbid, I think, because I'm not thinking about it, it doesn't exist. Anybody thinks gravity doesn't exist, I'll just be like, okay, cool, bro. Go on top of my house. Yes, I own my own home. Yes, thank you. Go on top of my house and jump off and let's see what happens. I bet you'll think about gravity then. So anyway, it is what it is. This is a crazy world we live in. All right, that's a whole different conversation about the demonization of the male gaze by feminists. Yeah, that's a whole different conversation, man. That's crazy, man. I mean, that's biblical. What happened? What did Moses write about Adam and Eve? When Adam saw Eve, what did he say? This is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Like, that was his way of saying, he was saying two things by saying that. He was saying, one, this woman looks like me. She's not like the animals that I've been naming all this time. And two, he was like, she look good. Like, I mean, you're supposed to do that. I mean, the Bible says this on multiple occasions. Like, it'll say, like, and the daughters of Lot were very beautiful, or she was very beautiful, or Bathsheba was very. It highlights. It puts an accent on it. Women were beautiful, so there's nothing wrong with that. So these women are tripping, and then they're complaining about not being able to find men or dates because you've made men feel like they're wrong for just like even acknowledging that you're pretty. It's just stupid to me. I don't get it. All right. Let me one or two more, and then I'm getting out of here. Let me see where we at. Faith by five. No talk about LSU leaving the national anthem. That's all I've heard. You know what? I didn't even know that until today. I missed the beginning of the game. I saw that earlier. I didn't even know about that. So I don't know what was behind that. At this point, like how stupid is that? Like, at this point, like, okay, I get it. If you wanted to do this stuff when Colin Cowherd, why were you doing that in 2024? Let me tell you why I think they did it. Okay, real quick. Here's why I think they did it, but I don't know enough about it. So take this with a grain of salt, unless you got high blood pressure. All right, this is what I think. There was an article that came out, a Washington Post article and the LA Times article about Kim Mulkey, which is, I'm laughing at a comment that just came in. Why you give us this? That's how I do it, baby. All right, so there was an article that came out a couple days ago, which Kim Mulkey, who is the coach of LSU, she called a hit piece. And it was tough. It basically said that LSU were a team of dirty debutantes. That's a crazy thing to say. And they're a predominantly black team. I think Haley Van Lilith is one of the only white girls, and she was a starter. She's one of the only white girls on that team. But she carries herself like she grew up in the hood. I don't know. But like, so there were articles about those two articles, and they were big deals, and they were really trashing Kim Mulkey and LSU. They complained about it, and then I think the LA Times took out the dirty debutante phrase or took out something. So LSU came to this game with a huge chip on their shoulder. And not just the typical, we're the better team. They felt slandered by these types of articles. And think about this for a second. You know, we're so used to, first of all, as a Christian, we're supposed to love our neighbors as ourselves, right? It's one thing, you know, I joke around, said dude's an ugly dude, but in all honesty, he's made in God's image. He's an image bearer, and we got to care about people. We don't have the luxury of saying we don't love people because we disagree with them. We just don't have that luxury. Jesus doesn't give us that luxury. And so I think they came here with a chip on their shoulder because if you think about it, when you're in college, you are typically 18 to 22 years old, maybe 23, all right? If you're a guy, they say that your frontal lobe doesn't even develop until you're 25, right? I mean, you can't even rent a car, I think, until you're 25. These people, they may look like they're athletes and all of that, and some of these girls are big, but they're just kids, fam. They're kids. They're 18 to 20. I'm old enough that 18 to 22 is a kid to me. Like, I respect that you know, I remember when I was 18 to 22 and you think you know everything, then you realize when you get a little older, I ain't know nothing, you know? A man who knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. Right? Erykah Badu, who's wildin'. But I mean, the reality is these are kids, fam. And then these kids have moms and dads who love them. So imagine if your child plays on a team that's just because they have national recognition and people call them vicious names because of their style of basketball play. They're kids, fam. So I think they came to the game because the article just dropped. These are recent things. These aren't like I don't think this was a Colin Kaepernick thing. I think this was I don't know if it was against, it wasn't against LSU, it was against UCLA. The article came out right before LSU played UCLA, and they called LSU the dirty debutantes, right? The evil, they called them evil, and said UCLA was good and wholesome. Now, UCLA is a team of almost all white girls on that team. I ain't saying it's racist. I'm just saying those the facts. So if you're going to say that they're good, knowing the history in this country, you're going to call a predominantly all white team good and a predominantly all black team evil. It was a recipe for disaster. So LSU came out and put it on UCLA, beat them, and then lost. So I think they came to the game in protest of the articles. I don't think it was about Colin Kaepernick and all that stuff. I could be wrong. I'm shooting from the hip because you brought it up, and I bang with Faith Refined by Fire. I'll bang with all of y'all. So anyway, all right. Well, look, I'm about to go, but I appreciate it. Thank you, bruv. Thank you, bruv. Appreciate it. Yikes is right. You can look those up. Look them up. LA Times article, LSU article, Washington Post, LSU article. Look them up. Their joints is crazy. Like, I would be mad too. I would be mad if you're talking about these kids. Some of these kids are 18 years old. They don't know nothing about this. They came to play basketball because they love the sport. And now they're in a national article that the world reads that's negatively and called. You know what a dirty debutante is? Do you know what that is? What that really means? Google it. Actually, don't Google it. Or don't look at the images if you Google it. Because don't say, man, Pastor Kurt told us to Google it. And then I look. I don't want no smoke from the Lord. I don't want no smoke from the Lord. Don't look, but it's a bad word. It's a bad thing to call these young women that. Just because they play basketball a little fancy and aggressive. So what, man? Dudes do it all the time. When do we say women have to be like, oh, thank you for letting me take a shot? Ooh. No, these women are like, let's go. They're human beings, man. You get hyped. Your adrenaline's rushing. This is big time. This ain't you just playing with your little nieces and nephews. You can win a championship. You're making history when you play these games. I digress. What do I know? So, all right. Appreciate y'all. I'm telling you, mark my words, give it 3 to 4 more years. when more women come from college to the WNBA and they're not lesbians, and watch, that league is going to be transformed. And Caitlin Clark is going to be the impetus. If she marries the dude, I'm telling you. I'm wrong on many things, but I'm also not, though. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, appreciate y'all, man. Like and subscribe to the channel. Go to KirkKennedy.com. I'm getting ready to come up with a bunch of new designs because it's getting warm out. I'm getting ready to tighten y'all up. So go to KirkKennedy.com. Check that out. Like and subscribe to the channel. And send this to anybody. Prove me wrong, bruh. Prove me wrong. I'm telling you, watch. Go look at the WNBA. Watch the highlights of some of them games. These girls be walking around like they ready to fight anybody. Knuckles dragging, all that. For what? Because it's a forced sexual ethic. And there's no other place that I'm aware of that has it like that. So, all right, y'all. Have a good day. See y'all on the next one. Grace and peace.